All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're cracking open a classic, Agatha Christie-style murder mystery. You know the type, full of shadows, secrets, and a crime that seems completely impossible. We're going to break down how these puzzles are built, step by step.
So, I want you to play detective right along with me. The setup is perfect. A locked room, 4 people who could have done it, and 1 killer hiding in plain sight. Pay attention to every little detail, because they all matter. Let's see if you can figure it out before the inspector does.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Our story starts at a place called Raven's Rest. It's this old, kind of spooky guest house run by a very quiet woman, Mrs. Eleanor Gray. And let's just say the peace and quiet isn't going to last long. And wow, things happen fast. At midnight, this mysterious guest shows up. Not even an hour later, a scream cuts through the silence. And by the next morning, he's dead? This timeline is our roadmap. Everything we need is right here.
These were literally the only words the guy spoke. Room 7, no questions. He gave this fake-sounding name, Mr. Cole, and the whole vibe was just off. Right away, you know something is very, very wrong here. It's our first big red flag.
So, the next morning, the body is discovered, and the scene is just bizarre. Inspector Hale gets the call, and he walks into a crime that, well, shouldn't even be possible.
And here it is, the heart of the mystery, the classic locked room puzzle. Inspector Hale looks around, and what does he find? Nothing. The door was bolted from the inside, the window was latched shut, no forced entry. The knife is wiped clean. So the huge question is, how did the killer get in, and more importantly, get out? But there is one thing left behind, a small card on the table with 4 words written on it. You were not the one. Whoa. This isn't just a clue, it's a message. It tells us this whole thing was a terrible mistake. So, with no way in or out, Inspector Hale knows the killer has to be someone who was already inside the house that night. That leaves 4 people. And one of them is lying through their teeth. So let's meet our lineup. First, there's Mrs. Gray, the owner. She has the only master key. Then we have Thomas, the handyman, whose alibi is shaky. Clara, the maid, who claims she just dreamed the scream. And finally, Mr. Frost, another guest, who seems a little too calm about the whole thing. Inspector Hale starts questioning the staff. Clara's story is a little weird, right? She heard the scream but just brushed it off. How convenient. But then there's Thomas. He says he was fixing pipes in the basement, but when Hale checks, the basement's completely dry. So the big takeaway here, Thomas lied. While the staff stories are full of holes, the whole investigation just gets turned on its head when Hale searches Mr. Frost's room, because hidden in his bag is a piece of paper that changes absolutely everything. Get this. The note is basically a hitman's to-do list. It says to find room 7, that the target shows up at midnight, and it even has a code word, not the one. So it looks like Mr. Frost wasn't the only one on a mission. The victim, Mr. Cole, was probably after the same person, and he got killed by mistake. Okay, so armed with this new evidence, Inspector Hale gathers all 4 suspects in the main hall. You know this scene. It's time for the big reveal. The tension is so thick, you could cut it with a knife. Hale puts the question to the room, the holy trinity of any investigation. Who had the means, the motive, and the opportunity? And you can just see everyone's eyes darting around, wondering who it's going to be. And then Hale turns to Mrs. Gray. What he lays out is a classic misdirection, a perfect red herring. The logic is just devastating. She had the only keys. He reveals that a dangerous gang from her dead husband's past is hunting for her. Suddenly, that note, you were not the one, it makes perfect sense. The killer was after her, but they got the wrong person. As the inspector lays out the case, everyone in the room just stares at Mrs. Gray. The color drains from her face. I mean, she has no alibi, no way to defend herself. The logic seems totally airtight. At this point, you're thinking, yep, case closed. It's gotta be her. But just when you think it's all wrapped up, Inspector Hale takes a long, slow breath. He's not done yet. And this is where the whole story flips on its head. He lets that accusation just hang in the air for a moment. Then he says, and the killer is not Mrs. Gray. You can just imagine the collective gasp in the room. The entire theory that seemed so perfect just shatters. Hale's eyes lock onto the handyman. The real killer, he says, is Thomas. Everyone is just floored.
Thomas? The quiet guy who was supposedly fixing pipes? No way. And then Hale lays out the proof, one piece at a time. Boom, he lied about the basement. Boom, his shoes are caked in mud, proving he was outside. And the final nail in the coffin? His handwriting is a perfect match for the card left on the table.
And suddenly, it all makes perfect sense. Thomas was the hitman all along. He was there to kill Mrs. Gray. He messed up, killed Cole by mistake, and left that card, "You were not the one," as a message to his bosses that the job wasn't done.
Once he's exposed, Thomas makes a break for it, but he doesn't get far. He's caught, and just like that, the impossible case is solved.
And as Mrs. Gray is just weeping for this forced stranger who died in her place, Inspector Hale closes his notebook. His final line just hangs in the air. A murder committed by mistake is still a murder. It's such a chilling reminder of how one little error can cause so much tragedy.